my lovely gems, Gina here, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about how I gave my living room a facelift and just exactly what I did to save money and do this transformation on a budget. So here's a before picture. I'm going to insert it at some point. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how I turned that into now this on a budget. Okay, so we're going to start off with the biggest eye-grabbing item I felt in the picture. I saved money on this beautiful map, not this one, the one that's going over it. So those retail for around $250 to $350. I've seen some go for even higher, maybe $450, but I happened to find mine at a garage sale for $25. So I bought that item. Actually, it wasn't part of the transformation, but it was probably the only thing that I had at the moment, and since it was such a good deal, I felt like I had to kind of throw that in the video. So next, my very plain and sod couch. Okay, so I actually debated with my husband whether or not we wanted to get a newer couch and just kind of replace that one, but instead I really liked the color, I really liked the style, I just felt like it was kind of plain. So what I did was I went to go buy these little nail heads that you put in, these little decorative nails for upholstery, I mean. So you'll see them like when you go to a high-end place and you you look at their chairs. Some of their couches have them. I'll put some examples here on these little nail heads that I'm talking about. So I went and I basically got all the things that I needed on Amazon to do this. So I bought the nails, which came in a packet of I think 100. And I had my hammer at home and handy already. And this, the nails came with a tape, with a measuring tape. So what I did was I basically used this measuring tape to go all around my couch and mark it every few inches. And I would go with a pen and I would mark those areas. And then later on, I would go in with my hammer, with my nail head. Actually, I found that it was making a lot of noise doing this, so I had to wrap my hammer head with a piece of cloth and put a rubber band on it. Kind of destroyed it, but I mean, it was a piece of cloth that I was probably not going to use ever again after that point. So I just put like a washcloth over it and I hammered in my nails. And so I will show you the before and the after of that process. So after doing that, I'm like, yeah, you know, I felt like freaking Bob the Builder. You know, pat on my back. So I pretty much followed that trend with everything else in the living room that I felt needed like a facelift. So next I went and I got a coffee table, which you already see in the before photo, but it was a very dark, dingy, and sad coffee table. So I basically gave this coffee table a makeover. I went to Home Depot and I got some sandpaper. I got a little bowl to put my paint in. I went to Walmart to get my paint. And then while I was at Home Depot already getting the other items, I went to go get wax, which later on I ended up having to go get more wax because I didn't like the clear wax. And I had to go and get a darker tinted wax to make it blend better. So another thing that I went back to get to make my living room more classy-ish, instead of having all of my plants leveled out on different plant holders on the ground, I decided to lift some of them up even more by going and getting a shelf. Now if you go to places like TJ Maxx, maybe even Ross, you'll find some good deals, but even then finding a bookshelf, a floating bookshelf is pretty pricey. So I also went to Home Depot again to get this little shelf. So basically what I did was I went to the section where they have a bunch of bookshelves not already assembled or that don't come together with the parts. And so I bought this very plain board that was painted white. or an off-white color in this case, and then I bought the hanging arms, that's what they're called. And I basically just put them in. I put them into the wall and I hung my bookshelf there. And that's that. And so I had some little plants at the top there. So now I added some more dimension to my living room by doing that. Another thing that I went to go pick up were 2 side tables. Now I like the boho look slash farmhouse slash beach house. I don't know what I like. I just knew that I kind of wanted to have all of this together in one. And so I don't know if you guys know, but these side tables, they're kind of like nightstands, I want to say. Some people use them as nightstands, but they're pretty pricey. Like, I've seen them some online go from, I don't know, $50 to $80, and to me, I'm just like, I don't want to spend that much. Maybe I'm just really cheap, but I don't like spending that much money on items if I don't have to. So what I did was I went to Offerup and I looked for pre-owned items. Now, and I also, I actually at around $80, but I got it for $10. And what I did was I also gave that the same facelift, and I will insert a little before and after picture of that. I did it the exact same way that I did the coffee table, but we're gonna get to that here in a second. So the part where I did a lot of work, I went in and I scraped down my coffee table. First of all, this took like a week, but during the time we were quarantined, stay-at-home order. Okay, so we were staying at home and I was bored and I had the time to do this. So when I did this project, it took me a week long to do it, and we stay in an apartment, so I had to drag my coffee table outside in the hallway, lay down this a drape. I don't know what it's called. I'll put it over here somewhere. You know, it's a drape. So anyways, I would paint it. I painted this table, but it took me like a week because before I painted it, I had to obviously scrape it down some because it had like, it looked pretty bad. It looked like somebody grabbed a screwdriver and went at the top. That's how I bought it. I bought it used, by the way. I also got this on Offerup. I just hadn't given it its facelift yet, so I decided that I was going to do all of this at the same time, kind of. So that's what I did. So I sanded it down. That took me probably, I don't know, an hour and a half, and I was really going at it, and I had to, you know, sand it all the same way of the grain on top, because if not, you know, you see it. No matter if you paint it, you know, you gotta make sure that it's all smooth and even and nice texture on top. Or you want to get all the texture off, so it's all the same texture is what I meant. So, yeah, after I did that, I went over it with the first layer of paint. It's a chalk paint. Chalk paint is what it is. And then after I did that, I let that dry for about 2 days. Even though it says it's good after 24 hours, I just wanted to be extra sure. And then I went over it with the second layer of paint afterwards. And then after that, I let that dry for a little bit. And then I went in and added my distressed marks all over it with the same sandpaper that I was using. So I added a few here and there. And then I even did the handles from when you open. There's like a compartment on the front of the coffee table, and so I went on ahead and did that because I found that there was brass. It was these handles were made out of brass, but they were just really dark. I don't know if it's because the table was old or because it was just painted over and that's how it was sold originally, but I went over it and I just felt like it looked so pretty and gave it this sparkle and also this nice antique-ish look, which is what I was going for. I also, I failed to mention this, I got a different type of stain, a wood stain to go on top. So instead of painting the top, I stained it with wood stain. So to me, it just looked like some paint. So I put that on top. I also allowed that to dry at the same time that I painted everything else. And then I had to wax it. So I put out my clear wax on it. And when that was done curing, which I waited, I can't remember how long I waited. I think it was a couple of days. But after that, I buffed the table to make it shine. And then I went and bought a darker wax to go over at the top because I felt like it was too light. I had browns, grays, and lighter colors in my background, so I just kind of wanted to keep the same theme. It was a little too gray for me, so I went in and got a darker wax. Did the same thing, buffed it, whatever. So then here's the results of that. I'll insert it here at some point. Okay, so after I got the table done, I put it in the center of the living room, but I felt like something was still missing, so I knew that I had some money left over on a Home Depot card that someone gave me. And I went back to Home Depot and I looked at some of their rugs. I didn't know they had rugs, I just kind of was hoping that they did, and I went and they did. So I got the rug. Overall, I think it was on sale plus the gift card, so I spent maybe 25 bucks on it. It's really fluffy, really nice looking, and I had all the look that I was going for. I put the rug underneath my coffee table, and that was that. So that's pretty much all I did. I didn't really, oh yes I did. I added, forgot to mention this, I added some pillowcases as well. So instead of buying new pillows for my living room, all I did was I went on Amazon and I looked up some pillowcases. My living room, I'm sorry guys, like I'm filming this in the middle of my lunch break. I'm looking at the time and I'm like, oh, I gotta get back in like, I don't know, 5 minutes. So I'm trying to cut this video short, but it's harder for me to do when I'm like under pressure. Okay, so I added the pillowcases. I added the pillowcases to my already like sad looking pillows, which revived it, and it had like these little pom-poms on it. I just thought these little pillowcases were so cute, and it brought that pop of color that I was looking for, because before my living room was pretty dull, but we didn't really spend too much time at home, so it wasn't an issue for me. It was already comfortable. It is what it is. But now that we were forced to stay home, I started looking at it more often, and I realized that my living room was not as colorful and bright as I wanted it to be. So that's pretty much what I did to revive my living room and make it brighter, more welcoming, and just flow better all around, I think. Everything else in the photo and the after photo is just things that I decided to bring in for my kids when they're in the living room chilling. And yeah, that's about it. That's all I did. That's how I got from this to this. And it didn't really cost me too much. I don't know exactly how much the whole entire transformation cost me, but I'm thinking it's a lot less expensive than it would have been had I went to go buy a new couch or a new coffee table, or if I would have bought a bookshelf that was already assembled at like a Walmart. And it was fun. I love projects. I love hands-on projects. So to me, I had a lot of fun doing this. My kids had a lot of fun helping me pick these items, choosing the colors, even maybe getting to paint with me. So yeah, well, looks like my time is up, and I need to be heading back to work. So thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, like, subscribe, comment, and until next time, thank you, my gems.